Have you ever felt a subtle tension in a relationship that you can't quite name? Those moments when something feels off, but you can't gather enough evidence to confirm your suspicions? The sideways glance that lingers too long. The smile that never reaches their eyes. The way their energy shifts when you enter a room. These are the whispers of contempt hidden beneath the veneer of civility. The unspoken hostility that exists in the shadows of your relationships, too elusive to confront. We live in a society where raw hatred is seldom expressed directly. Instead, it lurks beneath pleasantries, behind forced laughter, disguised as constructive criticism or friendly concern. Sigmund Freud observed that what we cannot express consciously finds expression through other channels. Hatred doesn't simply vanish when suppressed, it transforms, leaking through cryptic gestures and subtle behavioral patterns. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun, Freud wrote, while the unconscious mind is the vast subterranean pool from which it rises. The same applies to hatred. What cannot be spoken aloud sinks into this subterranean pool, only to resurface in ways that bypass conscious censorship. The person who secretly harbors contempt for you becomes a walking contradiction. Their words say one thing while their energy screams another, creating the psychological dissonance that makes you question your perceptions. You feel it in your body before your mind can name it. That inexplicable unease when they stand too close. The subtle tightening in your chest when they call. This is your nervous system responding to danger before your conscious mind has gathered enough evidence. Your body knows what your rationality refuses to acknowledge. Consider how they respond when you share good news. Do they truly celebrate your victories? Or do you sense a momentary hesitation? A flash of something dark crossing their face? Freud's concept of reaction formation explains how some people convert unacceptable impulses into their opposites. Their excessive praise might be overcompensation for the envy burning beneath. Their compliments land like stones wrapped in velvet, technically kind, yet somehow leaving bruises on your confidence. You can't pinpoint why their approval feels more diminishing than affirming. Notice how they position themselves in your narrative. Do they subtly reframe your experiences to cast themselves as the hero? Or perhaps they position you as naive, misguided, or incompetent. This narrative manipulation serves to reinforce their superior self-image while gradually eroding your sense of competence and agency. It is contempt disguised as guidance. Pay attention to the information they weaponize against you. The personal vulnerabilities you once shared in confidence that somehow become ammunition in casual conversations. These calculated exposures are not accidental. They represent what Freud called parapraxis, unconscious revelations of hostile intent disguised as innocent slips or casual remarks. Even more telling is when they withhold crucial information that would benefit you. Knowledge becomes power they refuse to share, creating an imbalance that serves their unconscious desire for dominance. Their silence can wound more deeply than their words. The support that never materializes. The recognition they freely give others, but somehow always forget to extend to you. In group settings, watch how they position themselves physically in relation to you. The subtle ways they create distance or alignment, unconsciously revealing their true emotional stance. The body doesn't lie as easily as the tongue. Their crossed arms, angled torso, or physical distance during conversation betrays the emotional walls they've built against you. Observe how they mirror your enthusiasm. When passion lights your eyes as you speak about your dreams, do they match your energy or subtly dampen it? This emotional mismatch, where your excitement is met with their restraint, creates a power dynamic that serves to keep you smaller, less certain, more dependent on their approval. Consider their response when you enforce boundaries. Does setting healthy limits trigger disproportionate resentment? Do they treat your self-preservation as personal rejection? This reaction reveals what Freud called narcissistic injury, the wounded response of someone who believes your primary purpose is to fulfill their needs, not honor your own. Notice who they compare you to. These comparisons are never random. They strategically highlight precisely what they believe you lack, disguised as helpful suggestions for improvement. You know, Sarah would have handled this differently, they say. Not to help you grow, but to reinforce the narrative that you are perpetually insufficient. Pay attention to the timing of their criticism. Does it often come when you're feeling confident? When you've just accomplished something significant? When others have praised you? This pattern reveals their need to regulate your self-perception, ensuring you remain in psychological deference to their superior position in the relationship. The shadow of hatred also falls across your successes. They may acknowledge your achievements, but immediately dilute them with qualifications. You were lucky, or the timing was perfect. This subtle devaluation serves their unconscious narrative that your successes are accidental while theirs are earned, a reflection of Freud's understanding of projection and envy. Perhaps most insidious is how they subtly isolate you from others. The casual comments that plant seeds of doubt about your other relationships. The ways they monopolize your social connections. This isolation is not coincidental. It creates a dependency that serves their need for control while limiting external perspectives that might challenge the narrative they've constructed about you. Observe how they receive feedback about their behavior toward you. Do they dismiss your perceptions? Do they twist your words until you find yourself apologizing for feeling hurt? This gaslighting technique, making you doubt your own experience, was recognized by Freud as a manipulation that destroys the victim's trust in their own perception of reality. The secret hater often disguises contempt as concern. I'm worried about your choices, they say, while what remains unspoken is, your autonomy threatens my control. Their help leaves you feeling diminished rather than supported. Their advice consistently steers you toward options that keep you orbiting their influence rather than charting your own course. Notice how they manipulate time and attention. Are they consistently late when meeting you? Do they frequently cancel plans or remain distracted during your limited time together? These behaviors communicate that your time holds less value than theirs, a subtle but powerful expression of the hierarchy they've established in their mind. In conflictual moments, observe whether they fight fair. Do they bring up unrelated past mistakes? Do they attack your character rather than address the specific issue at hand? This pattern reveals they're not seeking resolution but dominance, using conflict not as a path to understanding but as an opportunity to reinforce your subordinate position. When you are wronged by others, notice how quickly they side with your adversary. Their objectivity consistently favors perspectives that diminish your experience or question your judgment. This alliance with forces that hurt you isn't coincidental. It reveals their unconscious satisfaction in seeing external validation for their private assessment of your lesser worth. Pay attention to the disparities between how they treat you versus others. Do they extend courtesies to strangers that they withhold from you? Does their warmth decrease in private? These discrepancies expose what Freud called the splitting of emotional responses, showing one face to the world while reserving a darker aspect for those in their intimate circle. If you've quietly recognized these patterns in someone close to you, you may feel a complex mixture of validation and grief. The confirmation of your intuition comes at the cost of trust. This awareness creates a painful crossroads. Do you confront what you've discovered? Do you adjust the relationship accordingly? Or do you continue the dance of pretense? Each path carries its own form of suffering. Confrontation risks escalation or denial. Distance creates loss. Pretense corrodes your authenticity and emotional well-being. Perhaps the most valuable insight from Freud's work is understanding that another's hatred reveals more about their internal landscape than about your worth or deserving. Their contempt is projection, the externalizing of disowned aspects of themselves. What they cannot tolerate within, they must locate without, making you the screen for their self-rejection. This doesn't diminish your pain or invalidate your experience, but it offers a perspective that prevents their distorted vision from becoming the mirror in which you view yourself. If this revelation resonates with your experience, know that you're not alone. Many walk through life carrying the invisible wounds inflicted by those who claim to care while secretly harboring contempt. Your ability to detect these subtle signals isn't paranoia, it's your intuition functioning precisely as it should, protecting you from psychological harm disguised as love or friendship. The path forward begins with honoring this intuition rather than dismissing it, with establishing boundaries that protect your energy from these subtle vampiric dynamics. You may not be able to change how someone feels about you, but you can change what you allow into your emotional space, what behaviors you normalize, what treatment you accept. As you navigate these troubled waters, remember that healthy relationships feel like freedom. They create space for your authentic expression rather than requiring your careful performance. True connection expands you rather than diminishes you. It acknowledges your flaws while never reducing you to them. It sees both your darkness and light without using either against you. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise, Freud wrote. This honesty may now require acknowledging that someone's presence in your life serves neither your growth nor your peace. This recognition isn't failure, it's discernment. Not all bonds are meant to last a lifetime. Some relationships serve as teachers rather than permanent companions on your journey. The wisdom lies in distinguishing between temporary discomfort that leads to mutual growth and chronic toxicity disguised as normal human friction. In the end, what matters isn't how many people surround you, but whether those people see you clearly, value you authentically, and contribute to the person you're becoming. To walk away from hidden hatred isn't abandonment, it's self-preservation. Not an act of retaliation, but a quiet reclaiming of the energy you've been unconsciously spending to maintain an illusion.